talk you through it, and maybe we might do a little bit of the math on the whiteboard. I would like someone to take a positive risk and read this. It does have a word in it some of you may not know, and we'll talk about that. Anna, you want to give it a try? Okay, go ahead.
Some glaciers spew hot water 195 feet into the air. Old Faithful in Yellowstone Park erupts about every 80 minutes. It discharges its water up to 170 feet skyward. How many times a day does Old Faithful erupt?
Okay. So, are there some words in here that you don't know? Look at your paper. Is there a word in there that you might not know? Does anybody know what a geyser is? What is a geyser, Jasmine?
Like a fountain underground.
That's a good way to describe it. It's like a fountain underground, and what happens? It erupts. And when you say erupt, what do you mean by erupting? I think of eruption as
Like a volcano.
yeah, it's like a volcano, right, but it's all water. So it squirts that water straight up in the air really hard. Okay? Very good. Okay, so let's talk you through this problem. Okay, first of all, the first thing we have to do is what? Jessica.
Draw a box around the question.
So we're going to draw a box around the question. Can someone tell me what the question is? Karen.
How many times a day does Old Faithful erupt?
Okay, how many times a day does Old Faithful erupt? So go ahead and draw a question, box around that question. Okay, and what information do I need to solve that problem? Daniel.
80 minutes.
Every 80 minutes. Okay, very good. So I'm going to underline that, right? What else do I need to know?
195 feet.
195 feet into the air. Do we need to know if it's 190 feet? Do we need to know how high it goes up in order to know how many times a day it does it?
No.
No. So we can cross off the 190 feet high. Is there anything else we don't need to know?
Hot water.
Spews hot water. We don't, I mean, it's nice to know, but it has nothing to do with the problem, right? So spewing hot water. There's another measurement.
It erupts 130 feet skyward.
Right. 170 feet skyward is good information for us to get a visual, but do we need that to know? Do we need that to know how many times it erupts?
No.
Okay, so we can cross that off. So basically, all we really need to know that's out of this problem is the 80 minutes, every 80 minutes. And is there any vocabulary that we need to circle? 80 minutes, so the minutes is important, minutes, because, and the other vocabulary, we don't really need that vocabulary to solve the problem. We already talked about it, what a geyser is and what eruptions are and all that. So we can circle that vocabulary just so we know it, but it doesn't have anything to do with solving the problem. Now, what piece of information do I need to know to solve this problem that's not really written in the problem? Everybody look at it. Every 80 minutes, how many times a day? Think about that and get that answer in our head. What do you think you need to know in order to answer this question? Giselle, what do you think? Daniel, you want to help Giselle?
How much is 80 minutes?
How much is 80 minutes? Okay, you're on the right track. In a day, would we have to know how many minutes are in a day?
24 hours.
Yes, we would have, in order to find out how we're going to divide this 80 minutes into a day, we have to know how many minutes are in a day, okay? So what's the first thing that we can do? Somebody just said it, I heard, 24 hours. There's 24 hours in a day? Do you all agree? Yeah? Okay. So there's 24 hours in a day. Does that tell me how many minutes are in a day? No. How many minutes are in an hour I need to know. Who knows how many minutes are in an hour? Jasmine? 60. So what operation do I need to find out how many minutes are in a whole day? If If I have 60 in 1 hour and I have 24 hours in a day, man,
Divide.
I think I might want to do the opposite of dividing. Eric, what's the opposite of dividing? The inverse of dividing would be multiplying. So I'm going to multiply because there's 60 minutes per hour. Okay? So I want to know how many minutes are a whole day, so we're going to multiply 24 times 60. That's the operation we need. So everybody can do that on their paper, and I'll do it here. You can do it along with me if you don't know how. So I just do this little shortcut. I bring down my 0. 6 times 4 is 24. Carry my 2. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. So this is how many minutes are in a day. Am I finished with this problem, Kenya? No. So, Ruben, what do I have to do to find out how many times a day Old Faithful erupts? Divide. And what am I going to divide, Alma? What into what?
The answer was
You guys can shout it out. How many minutes each time? 80 minutes. So we're going to divide 1440 by 80 minutes to get the number of times a day that Old Faithful erupts, okay? So can I put 80 into 14? No, so I have to do it into 144, and it's going to go 1 time, so that equals 80. Then I subtract. Then I bring down my 0, because I can keep adding zeros to help me divide. There's a shortcut here. Does anybody know what 8 times 8 is?
64.
Aha, look at that. So we can do this, how many times? 8. 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 8 is 64. And the answer to the question is 18. How many times a day does Old Faithful erupt? 18 times a day if it's every 80 minutes. Very good. Give yourselves a hand. That's excellent. You are good.